Ladies and gentlemen, your host for today. Ladies and gentlemen, your host for today, our very own 2016 International FameLab champion. Put your hands together for Professor Dr. Abi Virakumarasivam.
Hey, thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the FameLab Malaysia 2018 National Finals. Woohoo! Started in 2005 by the Cheltenham Science Festival, FameLab is the biggest in the world. Through this strategic partnership with British Council since 2007, FameLab has grown and is now a global phenomenon, receiving over 22 million views annually, and with over 7,000 participants competing at various national competitions around the world. Malaysia has been competing in this competition since 2015, and the competition in Malaysia is brought to you by MITE and the Malaysia Industry-Government Group of High Technology, together with British Council Malaysia. The 10 Malaysian finalists you'll hear were selected from the various regional heats that we had in the last in fact, just last month. And these finalists have received a 2-day masterclass, thanks to MITE and British Council, where they've been trained by a world-class science communicator, Mr. Dallas Campbell from United Kingdom. So besides eternal glory, fame, and really not even that, the winner of today's competition will have the honor to represent Malaysia at the FameLab International Final 2018, just like Dr. Zaid Ibrahim. Where are you? The FameLab Malaysia champion 2017, who did Malaysia really proud last year. Fantastic. And they will compete against national champions from at least 30 different countries. The format of the FameLab competition involves participants engaging and entertaining audiences by breaking down and demystifying complex science, technology, and engineering concepts, really sharing the beautiful stories of science and the latest discoveries, and really just to have a lot of fun. And all of this is done in 3 minutes. Participants are not allowed to use any PowerPoint like presentations and have to really rely on their, number one, creative use of language and props that they can easily carry and transport. Second, the clarity of their thought process. And finally, that X factor, right? The charisma, the ability to engage and excite you because it's all about you today. And that's why MITE Malaysia and also British Council would like to really get you into this whole mood, because it's all about the group and engaging everyone. We would like you to take photographs or videos or whatever and tweet or go on Facebook or use Instagram. When someone asks me, what's your IG account? I'm like, why are you asking me about my immunoglobulins? I didn't realize IG stands for Instagram. So that shows how lame I am. Anyway. So it could be either hashtag MITE Malaysia, hashtag British Council Malaysia, and hashtag FameLab 2018. So I really implore you. And you also notice that there are lots of photographs and videos out here. So please try and stay engaged and excited, because your pictures will be on the Facebook or Instagram or what have you. But anyway, going back to the competition. Upon the completion of their 3-minute presentation, The participants will then be quizzed by our esteemed panel of judges behind us, or some may call dream makers or crushers, depending on whose perspective it is. So let me just take this opportunity to really humbly introduce the amazing panel that the organizers have brought for you today. First, we have a knight of the British Empire and a global leader in green and sustainable chemistry, Professor Sir Martin Polyakov. A professor at Nottingham University and a member of academies and royal societies of more than 5 countries, Sir Martin Polyakov is also a YouTube sensation with his epic periodic table videos that have been viewed by more than 95 million people. So only about 5 billion less popular than Justin Bieber. Next, we have a futurist, so she probably already knows who's going to win today. Dr. Liz Alexander. Dr. Alexander combines her futurist skills with a deep understanding of strategic needs of business, especially that relates with communicating thought leadership and pioneering ideas. What's exciting is that Dr. Alexander has authored more than 21 non-fiction books and reached close to 1 million global readers. Let's give a round of applause to Dr. Alexander. And finally, our very own Malaysian scientist, Assistant Professor Dr. Wan Wardatul Armani Wan Salim, who in 2014 led a team of 28 scientists, technologists, and engineers in the US to work on NASA's first ever astrobiology program. And this project was eventually launched as a nanosatellite together with SpaceX rocket as part of NASA's journey to Mars mission. Wow. We should be hearing a lot more about you, all right? And she's currently based at the International Islamic University, Malaysia, where she's developing various biosensors-based applications. But they are not the only judges. All of you can also be judges, right? I know, we love judging people, right? So we have created an award called the Audience Choice Award. So even if you disagree with the judges later on, you still have the opportunity to pick your winner. So the Audience Choice winner will be based on texting. And you'll actually be seeing a slide out there very soon. And after each presentation, from the first presentation onwards, you can actually start texting. All right? So the format of the competition has been explained. The amazing panel of judges have been introduced. I'm a bit hungry, so let the competition begin. Our first finalist is a medical doctor and a PhD scientist in pharmacology and toxinology. It's a field that deals with all kinds of microbial, plant, and animal venoms, poisons, and toxins. He currently leads the Venom Research and Toxicology Laboratory at the University of Malaya. Dr. Tan Chu Hock is highly regarded in his field, published extensively and won multiple national and international awards, including the prestigious International Award for Young Scientists from the Japanese Association of Laboratory Animal Sciences. When not in his laboratory and lecture halls, he spends his spare time organizing various conferences and science outreach programs. No wonder he's still single and ready to mingle. Presenting to you, Dr. Tan Chu Hock.
In the middle of the night, if you find something long, black, and slippery in your bed, it could be a cobra. Now watch out, because a bite from this fellow can kill you instantly. As a toxinologist, I milk cobra to collect the deadly poison from their fangs to study them. This poison is called venom. And cobra venom contains a powerful neurotoxin that blocks the nervous system and paralyzes the victim to death in less than 1 hour. To save the victim, we need antivenom, which is the antidote to the neurotoxin. Antivenom contains antibodies that recognize and capture the neurotoxin to remove it from the body. So a life is saved. But there are more than 20 cobra species. Each of them has its own unique neurotoxins. And only the specific type of antivenom is able to recognize and capture the exact neurotoxin of a certain species. Hence, doctors need to know the species of the snake so that the correct antivenom can be given. But when we ask most patients, what snake bit you? The answer often goes like this. I don't know. It was something long and black. Oh my God, I'm going to die. So, you see, the description, long and black, actually matches more than 100 types of snake. We obviously cannot rely on patients' description to identify a snake. We need a better solution. My research team is currently working on the development of a new super antivenom that is able to recognize and capture the different neurotoxins from various cobra species. This super antivenom will be able to work against different cobra bites, independent of the species. By having this antivenom, we believe we'll be able to save time, and time saves life, and that will solve the problem. But until then, if you find a snake in your bed, next time, remember to know how it looks like, or even better or safer, take a photo of it and please send to me. Thank you.
That's great, wow. Let's give a round of applause to Chuhok. Okay, right, Chuhok. It's not that kind of competition to talk about your snakes and getting people to take pictures, you know. But anyway, great job. Judges, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you, Dr. Chu Hock Tan. That was interesting. It's not, we only hear about in the news about snakes, you know, killing people and so forth, but this is the, you know, it's quite rare to hear someone who's working on this anti-venom. But question for you, besides solving problems of people coming to a doctor's office with, you know, bites from snake, is there any other applications beside that?
Application of the snake venom?
Yes.
Yes, there are. In fact, snake venoms, apart from the deadly neurotoxin, it contains a variety of proteins, biologically active proteins, and some of these have been proven to exert properties such as antimicrobial, anti-cancer, anticoagulants, antihypertensive, and the list goes on. So it is actually a treasure waiting for us to tap into it. It's actually a kind of natural product that you can work on it for drug discovery.
Hello, Dr. Tan. I also read that some cobras can spit their venom into the victim's eyes. I don't know if that's likely to happen while you're in bed with a cobra. But how does the venom affect the body in that case? And is the work that you're doing helping with a cure for that, where the venom gets into the eye as opposed to the snake biting the body?
About snake getting into the eye, we have cases, in fact, from the cobra as well, because some cobras are actually spitting cobras. So this spitting cobra, actually in Malaysia, we have at least 2. So this spitting cobra is able to spit the cobra, the venom, right into the eyes of the aggressor, and that can actually cause eye damage. So treatment has to be really aggressive and fast, not by vinegar or urine, you know, although some people say that, but actually it's by copious volume of water, clean water, to flush it away.
All right, brilliant. Let's give a round of applause to Dr. Tan Chu Hock.
Thank you.
And as you can see, can we go back to the slide? Right, so if you want to vote for Dr. Tan, type FameLab space participant ID, in this case, FLMY51, and send to 15888. Great. Oh, well, I should mention, each SMS will be charged 20 cents. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Tan.
Thank you.
Great job. Our next finalist is a 26-year-old explorer, wanderer, microwave communications engineer, and an aspiring radio astronomer. He has a curious mind filled with musings of probing the universe for unknown secrets and undreamed wonders. He can cook fried rice in under 1 minute and is the world record holder for the most incredible imaginary backflips. Returning to the FameLab stage after becoming first runner-up last year, I present you the self-proclaimed, self-professed legend that is Afiq Abdul Hamid.
Test. Okay, cool. Test. Shh. Do you hear that? Silence. Is that the sound of the universe? Or are there worlds out there calling out to us while we are alive, right now at a time when we can tune in to listen using this device, the radio? I became a microwave communications engineer to tackle the questions of, are we alone in the universe, and do aliens exist? If you take light, which is a type of wave, and you stretch it out, you get something called a radio wave that can fly through the air and carry messages. On Earth, we use these waves to communicate instantly at long distances and to watch live football matches at Old Trafford. Go Chelsea! But some of these waves escape into space where they race at the speed of light, never to be heard from again, unless you have a radio telescope. It looks like your Astro TV dish, but the size of a building. And while a normal telescope looks at the sky, a radio telescope listens to the sky. And we can use these telescopes to listen for the radio signals of aliens hidden among the stars. Just like how you would tune your car radio to Hits FM, all you have to do is tune your telescope to detect narrowband signals coming from space. Signals with a very small frequency range that stand out against the natural sounds of the stars. But it's like trying to find a really small needle in a really big haystack. Our galaxy is home to billions and billions of stars. Which ones do we listen to? And our own technology, televisions, mobile phones, and microwave ovens produce radio noise that get in the way. I'm going to need a bigger telescope. By using a device called an interferometer that combines the waves taken in by telescopes all over the globe, then factoring in the precise time the waves hit each telescope, we can build an artificial telescope almost half the size of planet Earth. And here's an example. It's called the SKA, or the Square Kilometer Array, and it's something kind of awesome. It's the largest, most sensitive telescope ever made by mankind. When it's built, it'll be able to detect an airport radar on a planet 30 light years from here. That's like being able to see this coin on top of the Eiffel Tower all the way in New York City. The SKA will allow us to listen for the faintest alien signals. There's one. And maybe within the next century, answer the question of, are we alone in the universe? Hold up, I think I hear something. The search continues. Thank you.
Judges?
So, very interesting. When will the Square Kilometre Array be operational?
square kilometer array has been in the dreams of astronomers since the 1990s, and we are building it in phases. It'll be built in Africa, of all places, and the outback of Western Australia in order to avoid a lot of radio frequency interference. And right now, we're going through some of the proving stages in order to get the technology right. There's SCA Phase 1, which will tap into different ranges of frequencies. And the year that we will turn this thing on and finally listen for those signals, among other things, is 2024. So about 6 years from now, keep your dates set for that. We might get the answer of whether we are alone. 2024.
Thank you.
It's interesting, remind me of the movie Contact.
Yes.
So I just want to ask, what's the greatest discovery ever been found using this device, technology that you presented?
Sorry, say again?
Greatest discovery, some discovery that has been found, any sign of extraterrestrial life?
Oh, well, actually, the search for extraterrestrial is just one of the things that the Square Kilometer Array will be able to do. If you think about the Large Hadron Collider and what that did for physics, the Square Kilometer Array will do for astronomy. So when it comes online in 2024, we will not just look for, listen for the signals of alien civilizations, we'll also be doing a lot of research into proving whether Einstein was correct. We'll be looking for galactic magnetic fields, and we'll be looking at the Big Bang in a way that we've never seen it before. So a lot of the fundamental questions we'll be able to answer, but it's still a journey to get there.
All right.
Yes.
So much, Afiq. Let's give him a round of applause. Brilliant. Our next finalist is a yoga, crystals, and metaphysics junkie. And when she's not busy twisting her body into all kinds of shapes, she's a final year master's student in the medical sciences at the University of Malaya. Her passion in science stems from her own personal experience in losing many beloved family members and loved ones from various chronic diseases such as diabetes and cancer. She joined FameLab because she believes that while science will continue to improve patient outcomes, what matters most is health ownership. And it's only through effective science communication can we achieve the goal of greater health ownership. But she also needs an excuse to ditch that flat shoes that she uses in the laboratory for some high heels and some glamour on the stage. So presenting you, Vishala Sivapalan.
When I say Malaysia, you think of food. But when I say crispy chicken rendang, you say no way. Well, folks, we got to agree that one thing that unites us as Malaysians and that we take seriously has to be our awesome food. Unfortunately, many of us lead a sedentary lifestyle and consume food high in calories with substantial amount of sugar that has led Malaysia to be known as the most obese country in Asia, where a whopping 3.3 million Malaysians are said to be obese. Obesity has contributed to a disease that is silently growing amongst us, and that is non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. In short, let's call it fatty liver. It is affecting approximately 30% of the population worldwide. Fatty liver can cause serious complications and liver-related death. However, heart disease and cancer are the two top causes of death among those with fatty liver. Most of us associate liver failure with alcohol consumption. Today, I'm going to tell you how non-alcoholics are also prone to develop liver failure. Liver, the mighty organ, functions by converting food into energy, processes cholesterol, breaks down protein, and cleanses your blood. But conditions like obesity, high cholesterol, underlying genetic factors, and diabetes increases the risk of developing fatty liver. Fatty liver is described as high amount of fat deposition on the liver cell. And in some people, it can, over accumulation of fat can cause swelling. And in some people, this swelling can injure the liver tissue and cause scarring. Just like the wound on the skin that can lead to scarring, over the years, as more and more scar tissues begin to develop, the liver will begin to harden. This is a severe form of the disease which is called cirrhosis that can progress further to liver damage and increases the risk of developing liver cancer. Surprisingly, fatty liver hardly shows any symptoms at the early stages. However, when you start to experience yellowing of the skin and eyes, the disease unfortunately has progressed into a severe stage. Now, before I cause a shiver down your liver, fatty liver can be managed from progressing further. But this requires some lifestyle modification. Rule 1, eat the good fat. Eat more fruits, more veggies, but cut down on the sugar. Rule number 2, maintain a healthy weight, as even 7% reduction of weight can help. Rule number 3, have your crispy chicken rendang, I mean your spicy chicken rendang, but in moderation. But when you have it, make sure you exercise and burn those calories. Remember, you decide what goes on your plate and the kind of liver you want to have. Long live the liver. Thank you.
Although everyone was looking at me when you talked about obesity, and I've never felt this conscious about myself. But anyway. Right, judges?
Thank you, Vishala. You've given us some ideas of the changes that we need to make in our behavior and our diet. What single action or behavior would you like to see nationally that comes from your work, and how would you go about measuring such success?
The single effort that I would like to, through my work, is because we look at genetic factors that causes injury to the liver. So we hope in future this can be adapted to the clinical setting and patients are screened to see if they are prone to develop fatty liver.
And how would you measure that? How would you know? What would you be looking at to make sure that those success factors are being maintained?
The success factor, because most of them don't come in specifically for fatty liver, so we have to look at other symptoms and then hopefully come up with a solution for that.
Will there be more studies in terms of maybe correlation and so forth between these fatty livers and other diseases? Are you doing that also?
Yes, fatty liver, we have found fatty liver and underlying liver disease to increase the risk of other disease. For example, it increases the risk of liver injury due to drugs. So certain drugs are already causing liver injury, but then when you already have an underlying liver disease, it just increases it. So yeah.
Excellent. Great job, Vishala. By the way, you sell this. Great job. Thank you very much. Round of applause, Vishala. Move on to our next finalist. Currently a PhD at the University of Malaya, and she's also a member of RIMBA, a Malaysian non-profit research group focusing on conducting conservation science. While my wife, who's here today, thinks that I don't appreciate her enough, this finalist believes that bats are the least appreciated mammals in Malaysia. In her research, she uses DNA barcoding to understand the diversity and diet of bats, and she claims to be an amazing cook. I wonder what marinade works best for bats. In her free time, she lifts weights at the gym, so I better stop right here and invite Malaysia's bat girl, Lim Boon Cheng, or better known as VC.
Hello?
You know what? a lady just complained this to me. I live in a city and yet I had bats invading my home. They stain my floor with their feces and I had a hard time cleaning it. They steal my fruits, which I planted in my backyard, and they make tiny little holes in my roof so they can live in it. Can you help me to get rid of this annoying pest? I said to her, ma'am, I'm a bat researcher, not a pest controller. I'm very sure she's not the only one who detests bats. We all do. If you can recall, in the late 90s, there was a horrible outbreak of Nipah virus, which have killed 105 Malaysians. The host of the Nipah virus was the flying fox, the largest bat in the world. However, such conflicts between humans and bats could have been avoided if we did not displace the bats. You see, bats live in forests and limestone caves, but we have turned their forests into oil palm plantations and housing areas. We also blasted the caves to extract limestone, which is used as a building material in construction. Now that the bats have lost their home, where do they go? Our home in the city. So are the bats invading our home, or are we the one who have invaded their home? In order to understand how these bats survive in the city, I studied the bats in Kuala Lumpur, and I discovered that these amazing creatures are forest planters. Every night, they will travel from the city to the forest to feed on forest plants. When the bats eat the forest fruit, they'll swallow the seed, fly back to the city, and poop out the seed, which later grow into seedling. So yes, the bats are using our city as a toilet. But at the same time, they are planting forests in our city. I also found that these bats are fruit farmers. They pollinate commercial crops, including our durian. When the bats feed on the nectar and pollen of durian flowers, they will transfer the pollen across flowers, fertilizing the female part of the flower, which later develop into fruit. So without the bats pollinating durian flowers, there will be no durian fruit. We often view bats as an annoying and dangerous animal, yet they are ecologically and economically important. And losing the bats to human activities will definitely impact our ecosystem and agricultural industry. Now, should we or should we not get rid of the bats from our home in the city? It's a question for you to ponder tonight. For my part, I'll never stop telling the world why bats matter. Thank you. Thank you.
Amazing bats, amazing biceps. Wow. Judges. Yeah.
So, the very nice talk.
Thank you.
They've all been very nice. Do you think that the noises in the city interfere with the bat's echolocation?
Well, interesting. Yes, there are studies that have constated that the noise, or should we say the noise pollution in the city, actually affect not only bats, but birds as well. Because it interferes with their echolocation frequency, that they somehow, yes, they will sound a little bit different than the bats in the forest. But bear in mind, that does not stop them from echolocating to locate their food. For example, the insect-feeding bats. Even though they are living in a city, yes, they are living in your backyard, they are still feeding on the insect pests that are living at your home. For example, mosquitoes and cockroaches. Yes, human activities definitely have impacted the bats, but always remember, they still play a very important ecological role in our city.
Vung Ching, I was lucky enough to see you in the heats in KL last month, yes. And very interesting about the connection between the propagation of durian or the pollination of durian and the bats. I understand that the Malaysian Agricultural Research and Development Institute is doing quite a lot of work introducing new species and various other technologies that's going to help with the durian industry, which is so important to Malaysia. Is it not possible that somewhere in the near future a technology will come about that will be perfected that could enact the same pollination process that the bats actually embark upon at the moment? And if that is likely, then what's going to happen to the message that you are extending about the importance of bats in relation to durian pollination?
Thank you. So yes, with the advancement in the technology today, it is possible that the bats will be replaced by the robots to pollinate the durian flowers. But we have to understand, we have something called evolution. Plants and animals, they evolve together. That in such way, the durian can only be effectively pollinated by the durians. The durian can only be effectively pollinated by the bats. So even the structure of the flowers itself requires bats to pollinate it. Well, there are studies that already compare several pollinators, bats, bees, and moths, and yet they still find that bats are the most effective pollinators for the durian. Even if we have a robot to replace the bats as the pollinator for durian, I'm very sure that it will not actually help to pollinate the durian as effective as a bat is because of the structure of the animal itself and also the way they transfer the pollen across different flowers. Do you know that in 1 second, they can actually transfer pollen across at least 10 flowers? They just go that fast. So again, imagine this is an ecosystem. You take out the bat, there will be nothing that pollinate the durian effectively, and hence the lower yield of durian, and hence we do not get to eat durian fruits. And when you have lower yield of durian, can you imagine that will impact our country's economy? You know, in year 2017 alone, that the export value for the durian was 100 million ringgit Malaysia, and that was last year alone. So no bats, no durians.
Well, that's good news for me. I'm just joking. Let's give a round of Woon Cheng. You really know your stuff. Great. Thank you so much. Sorry, Julia. Yeah. Right. Our next finalist is from the northern state of Malaysia, Penang. She's a master's student at University Science Malaysia, where she engineers parasitic proteins to develop a new diagnostic kit against various infectious diseases. If an astrophysicist examines the expanding universe and a geologist monitors the soil movement, she enjoys watching tiny thread-like parasites wiggling in your bodies. Since joining FameLab, she has developed a greater desire to communicate and share the wonders of science. The only other thing that she now tells me that she would trade the microphone for is a showerhead, with which she frequently belts out the tunes of Neil Sedaka and David Bowie, presenting you Nur Hassana Muhammad Hassan.
Do you remember when you were small, your parents or even your grandparents would forbid you to play outside the house with your bare foot because they say there's a worm that could actually enter your body and make you feel sick? We thought they were lying. This is a wake-up call, ladies and gentlemen. This worm actually does exist, and its name is Strongyloides tocaralis. It's a parasite, and it can live inside your body for a whole stretch of 75 years without you even knowing. It's so notorious, it can reinfect and reproduce right inside your belly the moment you wake up and say, wow, what a beautiful day. At the end of the day, all you'll be saying is how painful those fungal infections are, how tough it is to breathe, and how tough it is to even poop. That fellow over there is responsible for causing a death rate as high as 60 to 87%. Then suddenly you realize, oh, it isn't such a beautiful morning anymore. I hope right now I've posted in everyone's mind one solid question, and that is, am I infected? You see, this is the problem right here. There is no one gold standard way to rule out the infection and to tell whether or not you are infected. Just yet. Fellow audience, I'd like to take this pleasure to introduce you to one branch of science that actually take a look into this, and it's called rapid diagnostic research. Or, in other words, we're going to develop a tool to detect the presence of that culprit inside you. Confused? Don't be. Let me break it down to you. Imagine I am the parasite, and on top of the surface of the parasite is the antigen, which works as the name tag of the parasite. And how this whole research work is, we take out the antigen of the parasite, we lay down the protein sequences, we carefully engineer them, and we synthesize a new recombinant antigen to mimic the functionality of the original one, all to be dotted on one single dipstick, just like your pregnancy test kit. But rather, this is to be used to diagnose and to rule out the infection inside you. I guess the best words of wisdom and the key takeaway from my presentation this evening is to rule out the culprit. Or probably you should have listened to your grandma in the first place. Thank you.
Judges?
Thank you, Nur Hassana. So this rapid diagnostic research is dear to me. Also one of my research areas. One of the things I want to ask you is, maybe you have to think about it already, is how do you reduce the non-specific binding? For example, what you're trying to detect and the errors that you can get out from your diagnostic tool.
Thank you, Doctor. That's actually a brilliant question. I'm glad you brought that up. I can share with the audience as well. Right. Based on the errors, to address your question, on the errors that can actually occur during the experimentation is basically there are so many variables and so many uncertainties we need to deal with. Meaning, if you are running if you're detecting a parasite, we already have the gene sequence, we already have the protein sequences of this parasite, the sample that we have. However, when we send it and we compare it with other protein sequences in the gene bank, for example, NCBI, it's not necessarily that that is your protein of interest. It's not necessarily that that is your sample. That is strongyloides, Mr. Strongy here. That's not necessary. So somehow confusions occur, and there are so many things to troubleshoot, and it's not easy to only troubleshoot at the surface. You need to go within it and beyond that. Other things are, through Western blotting procedures. Western blotting is an assay where we determine our protein of interest. Is it there or is it not there in our dipstick? So basically, in Western blotting procedures, it's very hard to troubleshoot the part when the bands on the gels, usually we will have a result presented in a gel. And on the gel, there are bands. And the bands of the interest, your band of the interest will be in one line, and it can be very thick. However, the thick band gives you a false hope because you thought that, wow, this is my protein, what an abundance, high yields. But however, those protein bands, they might not necessarily be your protein. So that's some of the troubleshoot problems and uncertainties that we have to deal with. Thank you.
Great job. I've never heard anyone describe the Western blot as good as possible. And I also noticed that reminds me of the Auntie Annie's pretzel. I'm really hungry. Let's give her a round of applause. Great job, Hassana. Good luck with your PhD research as well. Fantastic. Our sixth finalist is from a southernmost state, Johor Darul Takzim. He has found the whole FameLab experience to make him a lot more comfortable, happy, and relaxed, although he doesn't seem that relaxed behind there. But anyway, he feels a lot more confident to express his work. He's currently a PhD student in biomedical engineering at the Faculty of Bioscience and Medical Engineering, University Technology, Malaysia. He's always been intrigued by biosignals and biometric applications, just like all of us would do. And we're not trying to read our minds and hack into our biological systems. Hadri enjoys collecting rocks and crystals and eating soba noodles. Well, that's what he put it at. Anyway, the signal is all yours, Hadri. Go ahead.
Oh, this? You're probably wondering what this peculiar looking headgear is. This is an EEG cap, and what it does is it actually measures the brainwave. Now, one day I'm going to be able to do crazy stuff with these things. I'm going to be able to read your mind with it. Now, how, you might ask? Of the brain. You see, the brain is the most complex object in the known universe, as far as we know. Billions of neurons doing crazy things inside it, talking to one another. Now, interaction that happen inside the brain produces signals which we capture. And by tapping into these signals, we're going to decode it and do incredible things with it. Now, we entered an era where technology is capable of measuring this overwhelming complexity, where today we are able to measure just about anything at this point, even the brainwave. What was once thought to only be possible to be explained through magic is now being able to be explained through science. There's so much of the brain we still don't understand. We only scratch the surface of it. Now imagine if we are able to harness all those signals and give meaning to it. Imagine if we are able to access a door just by thinking about it, using it for security, or understanding people with brain disease and how it works. This is exactly what I'm working on at the moment. Now, if you think that's crazy enough, let me tell you something even more mind-blowing about the upcoming trend of brand technology. What if one day we are able to have the ability to have superhero powers like Professor X? You know, Professor Charles Xavier, the guy from X-Men? Now, reading minds is going to happen. Extracting dreams, extracting image from our dream is going to become a reality soon enough. It's just, dreams will happen soon enough, okay. So, in other words, yeah. Yeah. Extracting dream is going to happen soon enough. So, you know, imagine if we have the capability one day to interact with one another just by thinking about it, by the power of our mind. That would be cool. Now, you know, interaction that happened. Okay, so appreciating about scientists' contribution from scientists from all backgrounds benefit, not only benefit a nation, but humanity itself. Like a famous quote from Edwin Herbert Land says, you know, the exciting part of being human is our ability to use our brain to the fullest capacity. Otherwise, we're just like any other creatures on this earth. This is what sets us apart from them. Thank you.
Great. Thanks for shouldering on. Great job.
Yeah, I know.
Judges, can we have a question, please? We can't really read your minds.
Actually, Hadri, I'd like to ask you something that you wrote in a paper, a presentation that you did for the IEEE, where you said the performance of a traditional biometric system can be easily compromised as it is prone to spoof attack. Can you explain what you mean by that and perhaps give us a specific example?
Well, you know, so as for my master's work, so I did biometrics on ECG, heart, sound, and speech. So, you know, biometrics like fingerprint and iris nowadays, you know, though they are good, but they are, you know, the ability to, you know, duplicate and replicate the system, you know, there's always somebody who have made being able to access the system, break the system. So, you know, having biometrics like EEG here, what it does is it heightens up the security even more because people still don't understand the, you know, the content of the brain. So if you have, you know, using algorithm, new algorithm, cutting edge algorithm to do certain classification approach, this would enhance your security so it would not be prone to spoof attack if you use this kind of biometric like brain signal. That's what I mean. Yeah.
Great job.
All right.
Clearly the judges are doing their homework. Okay.
All right.
Good job.
Thank you.
Right. Our next finalist is a computer science undergraduate from the Asia Pacific University. She aspires to combine two of her favorite things together, Frozen and Lion King. I mean, technology and teaching. She wishes to change people's perception about technology and shed light on the possible magical world we are going to live one day. When not belting out to Let It Go, she also has a not-so-secret talent for making guinea pig noises. presenting you the very adorable IoT princess, and you'll understand when I see her, Ko-Zi-Yen.
Once upon a time, I dreamed of living in a magical land where all my Disney and princesses' dreams come alive. But little did I know, we live in a magical age. It's just right around us. How? With a concept called Internet of Things, IoT, I can make our dreams come alive. Aladdin's carpet that flies on its own. We have smart cars. What about talking furnitures in Beauty and the Beast? Smart home. Evil queen of an evil mirror, smart mirror that tells you things beyond your beauty. And behold, Alohomora, the door opened by itself, just like in Harry Potter. Now, I kind of know what it is, but how and why does it work? First, we have things, which literally mean things around you. Your car, your table, your chair, or even a pot of plant. Next, we put very, very small embedded electronic circuits on it, as well as sensors, so that our things can receive sight, sound, touch, and various changes in the environment. Next, we make a connection between these embedded electronic circuits to the network and give a unique ID to them, so that our things can be received anywhere in the world, even off it. Now you're gonna ask me, Ziren, so what do I do with all these things? Well, you can connect things, learn about things, monitor things, search things like Google, where are my keys? Where are my children? And even control things. Imagine if you're involved in a car accident in an isolated place and you cannot call for help because of your serious injuries. However, that IoT embedded camera installed on the street lights could detect your current situation, immediately call for emergency services, and your life couldn't be saved. But IoT is not just about saving lives. You put it in agriculture, you put it in manufacturing, you put it in transportation, it works. Now, companies are now working on this concept or technology, that we can call it, and they'll be estimated of 50.1 billion things by the year of 2020. It's not a futuristic world that we're going to live in. It's going to be a magical one. Signing off, Princess IoT. Thank you.
Technology, unfortunately, is often accompanied by unexpected circumstances, unintended consequences. We've seen that, digital distraction and addiction being part of the mental health taxonomy, and foreign hackers affecting democratic elections, etc., etc. Given that it's useful often to ask what could go wrong, how would you answer that question with respect to IoT?
Now, when the biggest concern with IoT is security, right? So things are moving up together. So if IoT technology and IoT is rising, so does with security. So for one example that I'm working on right now, it's called narrowband IoT, which the connectivity is done through cell tower, meaning just like a phone. So in order for someone to hack into a cell tower to retrieve the privacy information, because as you can tell, if I'm able to put a circuit inside your car, I could know where you are. So things like that are moving outwards together. Also in concern with environmental friendly issues, sustainability is also being solved. For example, energy consumption and things like that. There are many ways as to we can go wrong with IoT or tech in general. But we shouldn't let this be a blockage between us and tech. Tech can help us in a lot of ways. We just have to find, or in us, we have to find a way to conquer the problem. That's it.
And world peace, of course. Yeah.
Yes.
Great job, Zian. Let's give a report to Princess Ko Ziyuan.
I got it.
Our 8th finalist is currently a lecturer at the School of Biological
space, right?
Sciences, University Science Malaysia. Her passion in infectious disease research was fostered during an internship at the World Health Organization in Geneva. Her research currently spans the development of biomarkers for tuberculosis and environmental mycobacteria, and the genotyping and phenotyping of methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus bacterial isolates in Malaysia. One random fact that she told me yesterday is that she claims to be very cheap. She did not use a handphone for more than 1 year and will never buy anything that's not on a discount. But guys, she's not available. She's also a mother of 2 boys, 2 and 4 years old, whom she has left today to seek personal glory. So without further ado, let's present Supermom Dr. Siti Khairia Muhammad Hanafia.
Few things rival the love of a mother for her newborn child. And yet, like most women in Malaysia, when I had my baby, I let a stranger inject bacteria into his left arm. I watched the injection site pus and blister until eventually a scar formed on my baby's perfect skin. This is the scar of the BCG vaccine given at birth to prevent tuberculosis or TB. Unfortunately, the BCG vaccine only protects children. So most of us here, even the ones wearing that BCG scar, can get tuberculosis. Maybe some of us already have, and we don't even know it. You see, when we inhale the bacteria that causes TB, a multitude of outcomes can occur. But for clinical purposes, people are categorized as having active TB or latent TB. Active TB can happen to 10% of us. We will feel sick, we can even die, and we can definitely spread the disease to others. Latent TB happens to the other 90%. We feel fine, and we don't spread the disease to others. This is because in latent TB, our bodies effectively stopped the infection by trapping the bacteria inside structures I like to think of as bacterial sleeping bags, but medically they're called granulomas. As long as the bacteria remain tucked in these sleeping bags, we are safe. But so are the bacteria. They're safe from being attacked by our immune system and safe from being detected by our diagnostic tests. But if we get HIV, if we start using drugs that suppress our immune system, then the bacteria can escape. Decades from when we first inhaled the bacteria, the disease comes to life, and we can now spread the TB to others. This is what makes tuberculosis fascinating and terrifying. Humans have been infected with TB for thousands of years, but until today, we don't know. What signals do our bodies give when harboring this hidden killer? These signals can also be called biomarkers, which is the focus of my research. Biomarkers are invaluable molecules that can be harnessed into rapid diagnostic tools that can be simple, cheap, and usable at big hospitals with high demand, as well as remote villages without running electricity. If we can find the specific biomarkers that tells us who has latent TB, then we are one step closer to curing them wherever they are in the world. And if we can find and cure everyone with latent TB, then we are stopping the spread of future infections. And if we can stop the spread of future infections, then we no longer need to rely on preventive measures like the BCG vaccine. And that scar on my baby's perfect skin will be part of a distant history. Thank you.
Amazing job, Khairia. Judges.
Well, I can see you're a lecturer speaking to students, you know? It's very educational. Anyway, my question, so latest research on TB, right? How close is it to find these biomarkers and to create rapid diagnostic tools that doctors can use in the clinics and so forth?
That is the million-dollar question, and unfortunately, for the past 3 years of global tuberculosis reports, the diagnostic section tends to be the shortest paragraph. Progress has been very, very slow. TB is a very complex disease, and whenever we try to test our biomarkers in different populations, we're always finding different things. So the short answer is we're quite far from it, but it's such an important gap that needs to be addressed.
One more question.
Sure.
That gap that you're saying, is there anything that we scientists can do to accelerate it?
I think the main thing right now, it's not what we scientists can do, but really what the funding bodies can do. So for the global ATM, which is AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria, AIDS and malaria get 40% of the funding that they need. Tuberculosis gets 20%. And tuberculosis kills more people now. And in fact, it's the biggest killer of people with HIV. So without the money there, the scientists can't do the research, even the ones that really want to. We're already contending with a lot of scientific challenges, but now we're also very much restricted by the resources as well.
Absolutely. Great job, Tyria. Grounded in reality, and I'm sure your children must be so proud of you. Yeah. Our penultimate finalist is a 22-year-old. I don't know what I was doing when I was 22 years old. Definitely not on the stage. Third-year physics undergraduate at the University of Malaya. As a kid, has always been fascinated by the universe and the way it works, from the very small world of electrons to the very big planetary systems. His special talent is to sleep with his eyes open, a talent useful when in class or on dates with his girlfriends. But his parents are here today, so uncle and auntie, he does not have any girlfriends. He's a very good boy. He aims to pursue a PhD in theoretical physics in the near future, and if he does not make it as a future Tamil cinema megastar, presenting you the cool and physical Yohashima Kumaran.
Every second, 1 million people search for something on Google. And by the end of this talk, this would amount to about 200 million people. But what is a search engine and how does it work? Well, simply put, it's a software or a tool used to search for a specific query over a large data space and to bring back its findings. It's fast and it's ranked. And a lot of these search engines work on a principle known as the classical random walk. To imagine this, think of me as a walker, and I can move to my right or to my left based on the flip of a coin. If you repeat this process over and over again, you would find me walking over a huge network and having a search done over a wider area. And this is the principle that has been used for many search engines. But now with the explosion of big data, companies like Google and Tencent are investing huge amounts of money to find more efficient search engines. And the oracle for the next generation search engine comes from the bizarre manifestation of quantum physics. You see, there was a major breakthrough in the early 20th century known as quantum physics, which is the fundamental science describing the behavior of microscopic objects like atoms and molecules. And part of this behavior is called wave-particle duality, whereby these microscopic particles can behave as a particle or as a wave, depending on how you observe it. And I know this sounds crazy, it doesn't make sense, but it has been used to create technology like semiconductors and the microprocessors you use in your phones and laptops. Another exotic behavior of quantum particles is that it's called superposition of states, where it can be in more than one state at the same time. You see, in our computers, we use something called bits to process information. A bit can be in a state of 1 or a state of 0. But using quantum superposition, our quantum bits, or qubits, can be both 1 and 0 at the same time. Can you imagine the parallelization of work that we can do on any process or task that we need to handle when you can be at 2 states at the same time? And it's this property of being in two states at the same time, or superposition, that's been used to create, or has the capability to create more efficient search engines based on the quantum walk. The scheme is similar to that of the classical random walk, but in the quantum walk, it's like having multiple search parties doing work simultaneously. It allows us to increase our search area coverage to be twice as fast as that of our classical random walk. Now, this goes beyond trivial applications like searching for stuff in Google, but even works on things like looking for genetic sequence analysis, or even studying astrophysical data for more patterns. Thank you.
So, do you think people searching faster will be a good thing?
Sorry, I can't really hear.
Do you think that the ability for people to have quantum computers so they can search faster will be a good thing?
Yes, I would think it will be a very good thing for the general public to have more efficient search engines, but I think the real application comes to scientists that want to do work on huge and complex data where search is, an efficient search is needed.
Thank you.
How do you deal with this vast amount of data?
Yeah, that's why we are talking about a search engine, because as we progress as a society, we have more and more data pouring in, huge data, and we continue staying with our sort of classical ways of doing things. It's going to be outdated, it's going to be slow, and that's why as scientists, we have to find new ways to do it more efficiently. So when we get more data, we use this quantum search algorithm to actually go through them and to analyze them faster.
Great job. Anyway, forget the Tamil cinema and focus on your PhD, all right? Good job. Let's give round of applause to Yoshana. Wow, time has just flown. I can't believe that we have actually listened to 9 participants. Now we are at our final finalist, who is an ornithologist with a special interest in owls. He received his PhD in wildlife ecology from the University of Queensland, Australia, and postdoctoral training from the National University of Singapore. He currently is a senior lecturer at the Faculty of Forestry, University Putra, Malaysia, and his amazing work to understand the ecology, migration, wildlife behavior, and bioacoustics of raptors has won him multiple awards and recognition nationally and internationally. Recently, he was also awarded the Young Scientists Network Academy of Sciences Malaysia membership, which recognizes top young scientists in the country who not only excel in science, but are also committed towards improving the state of science and research ecosystem in the country. He sits on multiple international organizations, for example, the World Owl Trust and the Global Owl. And it's really amazing, and if I actually tell everything that he achieved, I'm going to feel really, really bad about myself. So without further ado, let me present you our Malaysian Harry Potter, Dr. Puan Chong Leong.
In Malaysia, we have a total of 17 owl species, and 2 of them are here today with us. Owls, they have their own vocalization, and vocalization is very important for them to communicate in the dark. For example, in the case of brown-wood owl, they will actually call like this. Woo, 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 woo. Oh, sounds scary, right? But this is a call that they made to defend their territory. And voices give them power. Owls, they also sing duets. In the case of Sundascope owl, the male will call like this, woo, while the female, woo, 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 woo. Can you guess what are they saying? This is just like a guy saying hi to a lady, hi. So voices actually give them an opportunity to find true love. Owls, they also have their own dialects. In the case of this brown hawk owl, birds coming from the south, they will call like this. Ooh, ooh, ooh. While birds coming from the north, they will call slightly different like this. Ooh, ooh, ooh. So voices give them a sense of individuality and diversity. This is just like human. We also have our own accents and dialects. We people from Malaysia, we will say this. Ayah, these are owl lah, which means these are owls. Okay? So now we know that owls, they do communicate just like us at different tones using different voices. In Malaysia, most of the owl species are understudied because it's very hard to detect them in the dark. However, their vocalization has helped us to detect them and study their behavior as well as distribution. But sadly, due to rapid urbanization, we have taken away their habitats. They are at risk of losing their voices, losing their power, losing their love, and losing their individuality. So, after listening to my hoo-ha for 3 minutes, let's just remember, every species is unique. In fact, every individual is unique too. Just like us, voices deserve to be heard too. Ooh, 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 ooh. Okay.
Amazing. That is.
I read a really interesting article in the Washington Post from the end of last year where the headline was, "We don't need to save endangered species. Extinction is part of natural evolution." And the subtitle of that was, "The only creatures we should go out of our way to protect are Homo sapiens." What was interesting about that was this wasn't just some, annoying layperson. This was actually an argument being made by an associate professor of biology at George Washington University. So I'm wondering what your response is to his opinion. He's suggesting that we should just let animals, birds, whatever, just go extinct, that in fact we are tampering with evolution if we try to change things. I was wondering to what extent you would agree with that, and if you don't, what your argument would be.
Okay, the famous BBC host, he once said this. His name is David Attenborough. I'm sure most of you know him. He actually called humans as plague on Earth. So we actually invaded the whole Earth quickly and invasively. Okay. My opinion is, due to human activities such as logging, habitat destruction, pollution, illegal trade of animals, and also these are all the factors that actually further accelerated the extinction of animals. What we have done actually has a direct impact on the animals. And we have to remember that we are part of the earth, and these are the animals that provide a lot of ecological service and function to us. Without them, we actually, as Woon-Ching already said, without bats, we don't have durian. And without owls, maybe one day, you have to tell your children, you can only see them from home, from all the decorations that you have at home. So those are the values. Besides ecological value, there are also ecological value, there are also economic value. Okay? There are also those values that we can't see, like recreational values. People go and watch birds, okay, which generated a lot of income for the country. So that's why I disagree with this person.
Great. Disagree. Great job. Let's give a round of applause to Dr. Puan Chan Leong. And really, let's give a round of applause to all 10 finalists for an amazing show. Woo! Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to have a performance, in the next few minutes that's really exciting. But not to say that the next two performances are also not exciting. We would like to have Dr. Sarah Deverell, the Director of British Council Malaysia, to come on stage and to share with us some of your pearls of wisdom. Let's give her a round of applause. Without British Council Malaysia and MITE, we won't be here and really having such a great time. Yeah. Microphone. Sorry, the microphone. This is long.
Thank you very much. Is this working? Yes. Thank you very much, Dr. Abbey. And what a challenge it is to stand up here and speak after these very, very talented young people. So before I offer you any more pearls, another round of applause for our talented finalists. Just in case you're wondering why we at the British Council work with the Cheltenham Festival to run the FameLab competition, which we've done since 2007, and here in Malaysia since, I think, 2015. Really, there's four reasons for this. The first of them is really that it offers great skills development to people, building your communication skills and confidence and ability to talk about your subject area. The second, though, is that it's a kind of cultural relations activity, that it helps to build understanding and trust with other people around the world. And I don't know, Dr. Abbey, you were a finalist 2 years ago. You went to Cheltenham, you actually won, became an international megastar. Let's hear it for Dr. Abbey from the Young Scientists Association. So how many friends did you make? Not that many. That's not the answer. But how many different countries? Yeah.
Till today, I get Facebook messages from many different people from different countries.
Except for me, because I didn't accept you as
you
a
haven't
friend.
added me as Facebook
Yeah,
yet.
sorry about that. FameLab, as we said before, is in about 30 countries around the world. It's the opportunity to mix and mingle with many different people of many different ideas, and to be able to speak with great confidence, because you learnt that skill also through the FameLab competition. Thirdly, we conduct the FameLab competition for increasing public engagement around questions of great importance to the planet, really, in solving the issues that matter. And I think one of you mentioned this, the importance of getting some funding to address to find the answers to the questions, because sometimes we need support for that. And being able to talk about your subject really does help. And the last one, really, I mean, we're involved in FameLab because there's great UK expertise, we believe, in the area of science communications. In fact, science communicator is one of the professions that is encouraged in the UK. And on that note, I just wanted to mention that a couple of weeks ago, no, actually it was in March, we met for dinner, didn't we? We had a lovely dinner, lovely evening. And we were with Dallas Campbell, who is a very well-known science communicator in the UK. He presents on the BBC, for anyone who watches the BBC. But anyway, as we were chatting to Dallas, just around this and that and the other, I just wanted to share this with you, that somehow it came up. He came up with this picture of a man dressed up as Pluto, the planet. And this guy was dressed as Pluto, and he was sitting in a wheelchair. Do you remember? Yeah? So this is where we do that thing with our minds, and we try to all imagine collectively together who the guy in the wheelchair dressed as Pluto was that Dallas Campbell was talking about on that night. Okay, I'll give you 3 seconds, and let's all say that name together. Let's see if this works, all right? You got your brainwaves ready? Those guys are amazing. One of those people over there is going to be the winner of FameLab Malaysia 2018. And I just wanted to mention that because, hey, Stephen Hawking is no longer with us. And he was amazing. And so I just wanted to mention his name, because here we are talking about science communications. I'm not sure he would have won this competition in his wheelchair, but he found a way to communicate words and thoughts and things not just about science, but about really important questions that we deal with on the planet. And he actually said things like, I don't know the answer, but I asked the question because I want you to think about the answer. So he was a phenomenon, as all of you are too, and I wanted us to remember him this evening. Can I also add, yeah, thank you, because he'll tell me to stop. I know this guy quite well. Huge thanks to our partners, Dr. Yusuf Sulaiman from MITE. You've been our partners all along. See? Malaysia partner, British Council, international partner, but you've actually been fantastic. And I know that we run FameLab in a special way in Malaysia because of you. So thank you so much. And Tan Sri Zachary, the science advisor to the Prime Minister, it's a great honor to have you with us here tonight. And I know that your presence will be a great inspiration to our young scientists who, of course, are already all winners, even though we don't know who the winner of the final is, but in my eyes, you're all winners. So thank you so much. And the judges are not here with us, but I would like to thank the judges for their time and their expertise this evening, and also the judges for our heats, and I think, Dr. Abi, you were one of them as well. Who else do I need to thank? The FameLab alumni. Where are you? You know who you are. Can you stand up? Quick. Oh, there you are. Yeah, I know those faces. Yeah, so thank you too for helping to train these guys and for supporting us here tonight. And I think that's all I'm going to share with
Sarah.
you. I'm going to keep my pearls. Thank you. All right. Cheers.
Brilliant.
Bye.
Thanks, Sarah. Great job. Yeah, I'll be very honest. I don't think I would have won if I competed this year. The standard just keeps improving, and it's fantastic. Yeah. Next, we of course have the man. We have Tan Sri Zachary, the science advisor to the Prime Minister, a huge proponent of the FameLab competition, and this is just one of the many feathers that he has not only in the country and also internationally, and really great, and really tells you how important this competition is for our country. Thank you so much for being here. Here you are.
Thank you, Abi. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm sorry to disappoint you. I thought Haris Iskandar is on the program, and he didn't turn up or whatever. Apologies for that, maybe next time. Ladies and gentlemen, I was sitting down there. I was really mesmerized by the 10 presentation of the finalists. Much has been said about the future of Malaysia, but listening to the 10 finalists just now is just an inspiring moment for me. It augurs well the future of science in this country, with the kind of attitude and also the kind of presentation that the contestants had shown us. And what is also very encouraging to me is the topics chosen by each one of them. It reflects a high degree of consciousness about issues that science is grappling with today. And that range from all those advances, which include the IoT, but also concerns for the environment. As science advisor to the Prime Minister, one of my concerns is, of course, to promote the popularity of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And listening to those presentations, I think the future is great. I was born in a village without, I was born in a house, really. I was not delivered in a hospital. And some people asked me what triggered my interest in science. I'm from Pahang, and you know the forest there, the tropical rainforest, as we know, is about 130 million years old. There's no particular figure like Stephen Hawking or David Attenborough to inspire me. Science came to me almost naturally. The sound of birds, including owl that you mentioned just now, the tall trees in the forest, the sound of the waterfalls, the streams, the brooks. And it just, you just got carried away. And for me, I fell in love with science. It's only when I was in the university that I realized that this experience really is almost natural. Because in Malaysia, Sarah, is one of the greatest living lab in the world. Not only the tropical rainforest is very old, but also this is the place where the theory of natural selection, was conceived by an Englishman who was having his fever in Gunung Ledang, Alfred Russel Wallace, which eventually co-authored that seminal paper with Charles Darwin, who was doing his work in the Galapagos. So for Malaysia, we are the inheritors of this fantastic world. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming over here and supporting this initiative. Thank you, British Council and Mike, for staying with us, staying the course for all these years, and I hope there'll be many more in the future. And for the 10 finalists, I think you're already, each one of you is already a winner. So, thank you very much.
Thank you, Tan Sri. Actually, Tan Sri, Harith is here, but he demanded to have an opening act. And so we thought maybe you could actually be it. Anyway, so ladies and gentlemen, I'm informed that I should actually just remind you that for the next performance, take note that no flash photography and no audio or video recording is allowed, only for the next performance. I hope you've been taking a lot of pictures of me for the last 1 hour. And ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we are truly honored to present the recently awarded Laugh Factory's funniest person in the world, the godfather of Malaysia's stand-up comedy himself, Harith Iskandar.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon. Good evening, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. In honor of this evening's show and to appear a little bit smarter than I actually am, I wore my glasses. I don't usually wear glasses, but I was reading a little bit about FameLab and what it does and the people up here tonight who've been presenting and speaking, the functions of the brain, why bats are important to durians, and I said to myself, this is one time, probably the most obvious one time in my 28 years of stand-up comedy when I can say unequivocally, without a doubt, that everyone standing in front of me is absolutely 10 times smarter than me. I can say this for a fact. I'm not even trying to make you guys feel good. This is fact. I say it at other shows to make the people feel good. But tonight, I'm just going to lay it out on the line. First of all, I just want to say how honored I am to be here, to perform, to say a few words, to speak to everyone here this evening. My name is Harith Iskandar, and yes, I did win a little competition called Laugh Factory's Funniest Person in the World competition. It was... Thank you. Humble brag, hashtag. Small competition, it was really nothing, seriously. I don't even want to bring it up, but let me tell you about it. 86 comedians, 55 different countries. I was the only Malaysian. I won. Okay, let's move on, shall we? Not important. Tonight's competition is... No, since I brought it up anyway, let me just quickly tell you. Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. Competition was held, it was organized by an American company, Laugh Factory. Before I begin to make any jokes about America, are there any Americans here tonight? None, great. Fantastic. Let's rail on them. No, competition held by an American company, but held actually in Finland, of all places, Finland, I know. 86 comedians show up, and we're all there on the first evening saying hello to each other, back slapping, talking to each other, and the American organizer comes in. His name is Jamie, and he's very proud. He's from Los Angeles. America is a big place, but he's from Los Angeles, and he walks around here. Hello, I'm Jamie from Los Angeles. Hello. And hello, I'm Jamie from Los Angeles. Everybody's introducing themselves. Comes up to me. Hello, I'm Jamie from Los Angeles. Hello. And you know, I'm Malaysian, so I adapt. When you talk to me like that, I talk to you the same way. So I said, hello, I'm Harith Iskandar from Malaysia, hello. Because Malaysians were like, we like to adapt. You know, Malaysian, we have a very normal Malaysian accent. Malaysian accent is actually like this, right? And then suddenly we meet a British person, we're like, oh, hello, all right. Yeah, I'm from Malaysia, aren't I? Yeah, I'm all right, yes. Yeah, no, we like. Then we meet an Indonesian person and we're like, oh, saya daripada Malaysia, awak dari mana? Dari Jakarta. Iya, Jakarta. You pransek lo naik mobil. Suddenly we adapt, you know. So I met him and I was like, hello, I'm Harith Iskandar from Malaysia. And he was like, oh my God, Malaysia, that's amazing. What happened to your plane? This was the extent of his knowledge of Malaysia, which I do not blame him. It was you know, he's talking about MH370, of course, 4 years later, plane, still as yet undiscovered, unsolved mystery. And he said, what happened to your plane? You know, at that moment, I said to myself, you know what, I'm going to win this competition. I want to show this guy what Malaysia is all about. At that moment, I said to myself. So I got through the first round. I won the semifinals. I got into the finals. And finals was only 20 comedians, 20 countries, comedians from all over the world, 20 countries. First comedian was actually from Finland. I was number 7 on the bill, very nervous, little Malaysian company. First comedians from Finland came out, 400 audience, got a great round of applause. Home audience in Finland. Second comedian, Croatia, wonderful applause. Third comedian, Greece, great applause. Fourth comedian from Ireland, good applause. Fifth comedian from Jamaica, great applause. Sixth comedian came out, and he was from England. Oh, good, wonderful applause. And then Harith Iskandar from Malaysia. I came out, no applause. I came out, and I walked out in the Malaysian style. Hello, I'm from Malaysia, everybody. And in the audience, a quiet audience, I heard one person at the back of the hall shout out, Malaysia boleh! And I was, oh my God, there's a Malaysian here. In 400 Finland people, there's a Malaysian here, thank God. I said, hello, is there a Malaysian here? Please put up your hand. And I didn't see one hand come up. I saw 40 hands. 40 hands shoot up in the air, waving 40 Malaysian flags. I'm not kidding, I'm not even kidding. Not saying this to get the applause. 40 Malaysian flags in the air. And I was like, oh my God, 40 Malaysian, and it gave me so much confidence, so much inspiration that I did very well, and I won the competition. Of course, all the other comedians, not very happy. None of them had any flags. Not even the Finland comedian, hometown, no flag. I had 40 flags. I walked off stage, they were all like, Harith, who are those people? I said, they're Malaysian. Why are they here? They're here to support me. Why? Who are you? Who am I? All right. So that's why I won the competition. Anyway, here's the thing. After the competition, I wanted to meet all my Malaysian friends. I said, who are these people supporting Malaysia? I walked down and I met them all. And it wasn't 40 Malaysians, it was 20 Malaysians. But I said, I saw 40 Malaysian flags. One Malaysian had been working in Finland for 15 years. She had a company. She brought 20 of her Finland staff, gave them Malaysian flags, made them wave it in the air. I'm not kidding. I am not kidding. True story. These white, blonde-haired people were like, oh, Malaysia boleh, Malaysia boleh. No idea what they were talking about. They were excited. That's how proud Malaysians are of being Malaysians, seriously, especially when we're overseas. When we're in Malaysia, we like to complain, right? Malaysians right now, especially right now, the elections are just around the corner. Well, you read the social media, everybody's like, oh, Malaysia like this, Malaysia like that. We like to complain, don't we? Only on social media, we like to complain. We really, but when we're overseas, we're like, oh, Malaysia boleh. Seriously. And I met 20 Malaysians and I was, oh my God, 20 Malaysians, thank you very much. Did you guys just come here, you're on holiday? And they all said, no, we all live here. We've been here between 10 to 20 years. And 20 Malaysians in Finland for 10 to 20 years. And I said, why are you in Finland? You moved to England, I get it. You moved to Great Britain, I understand. We've got a bit of a history with a connection with Great Britain. I understand why you would emigrate there. You go to Australia, it's close enough, I get it. Move to America or Canada, yes, I understand. You go to Finland, why? Sure. And I asked all these 20 people, why are you living in Finland? And there were 12 ladies and 8 men. And I asked all the women, I said, why are you living in Finland? They all told me the same question. Well, I met my boyfriend, he's from Helsinki, and then I met him in Malaysia, he was working there, and then we started going out, then decided to get married, so I came back to Finland, we got married, and then I stay here, And then I've been here about 12 years now. So all of them had the same answer. And I said, great, okay, I understand that. You followed your other half to come to Finland and you stayed here. Then I asked the men, but why are you in Finland? The men had a completely different answer. All the men said, well, I met my boyfriend in Malaysia. And then, he's from Helsinki, so we want to get married, so we go back to Finland because legal, over there can True story, true story. Anyway, and then of course, right after that, every single foreigner, including the American, was like, oh my God, Malaysia, you're an amazing comedian. Oh my God, don't really know much about Malaysia. Tell me about Malaysia. And I told them some wonderful things. I said, Malaysia is one of the best countries in the world, actually. And the first reason that makes Malaysia best are the people. Malaysian people at heart are actually really good people, despite what you read on Facebook. We are good people. Any foreigner, you can come to Malaysia. You do not need Waze or Google Maps. If you do not know any direction, you just stop and ask a Malaysian. And a Malaysian will give you directions even though they don't know where you're going. They will respond and give you directions. That's a Malaysian way. You can say, excuse me, can you show me the way to Jalan Tuanku Abdul Rahman? And a Malaysian will, boleh, can. Dia pergi mana? Aku tak tahu. But they will try. They'll be like, oh, mana, aku boleh. But you have to be careful. When a Malaysian gives you directions, you have to be careful. You got to decipher the code, because the code is, you're straight. Straight. Then traffic light. School, left, school, bridge, left. You don't go left, you go right. You go right, you go straight. Say T junction, left, right. On the right is petrol station. Apa ni petrol station? Right, petrol station. They got shop there. You don't go right, you go left. This Malaysians will give you directions, and very confusing directions, because basically Malaysians, we want the foreigners to get lost, so we don't know where they are. Now, I can say this because this is not a fact all over the world. I have traveled extensively. Specifically, I've done shows in LA and in America, New York. I've done shows in England. I've done shows in India and around Asia. And not everyone is that friendly. I was in Korea. And any Koreans here this evening? Any Koreans? And I'm not saying all Koreans, I'm not being general here, but you know, Koreans, number one, they don't, not all Koreans speak English, and even if they don't speak English, they don't even want to try. I go up to a Korean, excuse me, can you show me the way to Pyongyang Road? Korean, like, oh, they just walk away. And I'm like, excuse me, can you show me? You know, but no, I met some nice Koreans. I got into a taxi, gave my hotel card to the taxi driver, excuse me, and he looked at me, he was, oh, where are you from? Oh, you speak English? I'm from Malaysia. He was like, oh, Malaysia, very good, Malaysia. Lee Chong Wei, badminton. And I was like, yes, you are correct. Lee Chong Wei, badminton, very good. What else do you know about Malaysia? And he said, Malaysia is sepak takraw is very good. Sepak takraw. I said, that's a Malaysian game. We invented that game. That is our game. What do you know about sepak takraw? And he said, Asian Games, Korea beat Malaysia, sepak takraw. True story once again. These Koreans are resilient, aren't they? They are resilient. They know. I tell you, do not, Malaysians, please, don't teach them Chongkak. They'll be beating us in 2 or 3 years' time. That is the brilliance of these South Koreans. But that's the beautiful thing about being Malaysian, though. Malaysians, you know, we help each other. Another thing about Malaysians, we've got the best food, right? We've got the best food. Undoubted, you know, we do not even complain about it. We know Malaysia's got the best food. Seriously, Malaysia, you know, anybody else tries to claim our food, we're like, no. Singapore and the chicken rice, we're like, what? Are you kidding me? Singapore chicken rice? No way. The Malaysian chicken rice. We created chicken rice. That is why every Malaysian who travels overseas, 20 kilograms of a baggage, they got 18 kilograms food. There's a program on TV called Australian Border Patrol, right? You've seen that, right? Whenever the Malaysian shows up with a baggage, Australian Border Patrol, all right, mate, yeah, let's bring this guy, yes, come here, sir, sir. They open the bag and like, what is this? What is it? Curry powder and all. And these are basically Malaysians who've been living in Australia for 20 years, right? And suddenly at that point, they can't speak English. Have you noticed? They're like, oh no, I don't understand. What? I don't know. Like, oh, suddenly you can't speak English. You're bringing all this food into Australia and you can't speak English. Malaysian food is the best. And how Malaysians are wonderfully helpful people. Have you ever, this is something you only see in Malaysia. Look down the highway. You will see one motorcyclist on the highway pushing another motorcyclist with his right foot. Have you seen that? And the guy in front is just coasting along. He says, this is only in Malaysia, right? And you say to yourself, oh, the guy in front has finished, he's got no more petrol. Little do we realize, the guy in front has got petrol, they're saving petrol. Because 20 minutes later, the guy at the back goes to the front, and the guy at the back, in the front goes to the back, and he pushes the other guy along. You know, we're saving petrol. This is a beautiful thing about being Malaysian, ladies and gentlemen. And I say this with an open heart and with no agenda whatsoever. Especially with, as we know, is coming around the corner. We have an election coming around the corner, and at the end of the day, I know I'm being buzzed off. I know. I'm here to say that sitting at the back here and listening to the people presenting here this afternoon, this evening, it's been an amazing experience because I know in this room is an example of what I would say is the best of Malaysia. Best in mind, best in intention, and best in heart, coming up with the ideas and the notions of how to make this world a better place. My name is Harith Iskandar. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy the rest of your day. Best of luck to all the winners. Thank you.
Anyway, so now we have actually come to the moment we've all been waiting for. I would now like to invite the VIPs on stage. Tan Sri Zakri Abdul Hamid, Professor Joe Beale, the Director of Education and Society of British Council, Dr. Muhammad Yusuf Sulaiman, President and CEO of MITE, and Sarah Davarol to join on the stage. Sarah. All right. First, I would like to invite Sarah to present the judges with a token of appreciation really for, I can't imagine, how they were actually going to be able to choose the winners today. But anyway, they've managed to come up with the winners. So first of all, I'd like to invite and welcome Dr. Liz Alexander to the stage. Yeah. Great job. Exactly. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Next, we'd like to invite Assistant Professor Dr. Wan Wardatul Amani Wan Salim. Only two here. Sir Martin Polyakov has had to leave for another engagement, which is why we took photographs earlier. And he's really scared. He was unsure whether he could actually face the winners later on or the not winners. Yeah. Thank you. Next, I would like to invite Dr. Muhammad Yusuf Sulaiman to present certificates of achievement to all 10 finalists. I would like to invite, first of all, Dr. Tan Chu Hock, who enthralled us with the performance, The Kiss from a Cobra, The Madam and the Cure, The Man with the Big Black Snake. Luckily, he's Chinese. He doesn't sound so wrong. Great. Next, can we have Afiq Abdul Hamid? Chu Hock, can you stay on here? Yeah. With his amazing talk on radio astronomy and the search for extraterrestrial life. Next, can we have Vishala Sivabalan, who talked about burn the fat and live healthy. Live healthy. Yeah. Next, we have Nur Hasana Muhammad Hassan on rule out the culprit, Strongyloides stercoralis. Next, we have VC Lim Wuncheng, creepy yet crucial, why bats matter. Next, we have Hadri Hussain, unlocking the secrets of the brain. Good job. And then Her Majesty, the Princess Ko Zi Yuan, bringing magic to the world. Dr. Siti Khairia Muhammad Hanafia, to find a hidden killer, Supermom. Then we have Yoshashama Kumaran, the story of the second quantum revolution and the search engine. And finally, and certainly not the least, Dr. Chang Leong Puan, people we speak, owls they call. Woo, woo. All right. And now, the announcement of the results. Dear finalists, you should be really, really proud of your achievement. Remember, winning is not everything, it's the only thing. Joke aside. All right. Now, can we have Professor Joe Beale to present the Audience Choice Award, which was chosen by you. And the winner is Ko Zi Yuan from APU. Woo-hoo. Great job. Congratulations, Zi Yuan. And now we come to, I shall say the awards that matter, but Zi Yuan will kill me. So anyway, now, the third place, or I guess second runner-up, because that sounds a lot better, goes to Vishala Sivabalan. Will we have a drum roll? All right. Great job. Now, The first runner-up goes to Lim Woon Cheng. Woo! I'm sure the judges must have enjoyed the durian, huh? And now, the best science communicator and the champion of the Malaysian National Finals of FameLab is going to fly to the UK next month to represent Malaysia at FameLab International 2018 is Dr. Siti Khairia Muhammad Hanafia. Woo! Great job. Good. She receives a plaque and a check of 3,000 ringgit. Great job. Can we have all the finalists to come along and take a group photograph? Excellent. Great job. And with that, that ends the Malaysian finals of FameLab. And thank you very much to all of you for attending today's function. Thanks to British Council, MITE, and all of you. Thank you.